All right, guys, so in today's video, we're talking about a key move when you start your downswing so that you can hit the ball much more solid and have much better direction control with your irons. And that's all about how your trail shoulder works from the top of the backswing through impact. It's so important. I had two people come in to see me the other day, back-to-back lessons, literally 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, who had the same issue in that they had poor contact with the irons, they had bad direction control. They had the same issue in that the trail shoulder was working incorrectly, causing it, but they were on completely different ends of the spectrum and the fixes were completely different. I'll explain what I mean there in a moment. So in this video, I'm going to give you a stock general drill to use to get your trail shoulder working correctly, explain what that needs to feel like, and also give you the drills I gave both of those gentlemen depending upon what side of the spectrum you're on. Thanks to Collars & Co. for sponsoring today's video. Listen guys, I've tried a lot of different golf shirts over my life. One of the issues I've always had is collars. The collars of the shirts that I wear that are flimsy, that are up and down. I just don't like the feel of them. What's so innovative about Collars & Co. is they combine a dress shirt, right, button down top and collar, with a very cool performance polo that you could wear not only at work during the day, maybe throw a sweater or jacket on that looks really sharp and fits well, but you could take that off and then also just take this right to the golf course. They're made with a 4-way stretch polyester, which is breathable, durable, and offers a full range of mobility. The best part is that they're machine washable. You can iron them too, but because they're wrinkle resistant, we don't need to worry about doing that often. Something really cool about Collars & Co. is they were even featured on Shark Tank. Collars & Co. is offering 15% off any order. We'll put the link in the description down below. Just use code Cogorno, my last name, C-O-G-O-R-N-O, when you check out to get that discount. Now, if we look at your trail shoulder from your setup position, and let's just think kind of general simple here first. Relative to where I start with my shoulder, during my backswing, my shoulder is going to go up towards the sky, and back away from the golf ball. So it's going to go up and back. Okay, it's actually working towards the target, but it's away from the ball. Up and back. Now, because it went up and back, for me to get back down to the golf ball at impact, to hit it solid, I need to do the exact opposite. Because I went up, I need to go down. Because I went back away from the ball target, I need to go forward towards the ball target. So I explained to both of them, I want you to think about your trail shoulder like a pie chart. Let's put this on the screen. One half of the pie chart is down, and one half of the pie chart is forward. And what we're looking to do is have a perfect ratio of those two elements, down and forward, throughout the entire downswing through impact. Now, what happens is typically a player will live on one end of the spectrum or the other. Like my first golfer, for example, he had too much forward, not enough down. Everybody has both the components. It's just how much of those two you have and when. So let's just say this golfer had 80% forward and only 20% down. Now we know we're always seeking 50-50. So if you have 80% forward and only 20% down, you need to feel much more of the down component and less of the forward just to get to normal. Now that first golfer, and if you're that golfer who doesn't have enough down, but you have enough forward, watch them down the line and face on at the same time, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have the arms, hands, club come too far out. And then depending upon how you time your club face, you're gonna swing too far down and left and hit a combination of pulls to the left and fades to the right. Probably more likely to hit some pulls with the shorter clubs and more fade as the clubs get longer. And that's what the first gentleman had. So remember, we're always seeking 50-50. He had too much forward, not enough down. So the drill I gave him was actually the same drill I gave the second player, but we're just doing it different ways. Here's what I'd like you to do as well. Put a club across your shoulder. So the butt end of the club's on my left shoulder, the club head is off to the right here. And let's make a little bit of a backswing. And if you're someone who hits pulls and fades, you've got too much forward, you need more down. Okay, we're at 80-20 when I get to 50-50. So you need to feel like the right shoulder when you start down, the downswing, stays back and just goes down. So there's gonna be no forward at all. I'm gonna feel like my back stays towards the target. There's no body rotation and the club is going straight down. The club head's working back towards my right heel. All this way. I'm trying to overdo that on purpose because I know I already have too much forward. Now, when I feel that same motion just down and I put the club in, notice from the down the line angle that that club is going to really shallow out. In fact, it's going to be too shallow. But if you're coming from here, you need to feel here so that it looks neutral. Okay, so the shoulder, if you've got pulls and fades, stays back and down, back and down. Now, for someone like me, who already has too much of that, I'm gonna have like double too much of that, so I'm gonna get a ball flight like that. That probably started 20 yards right and hooked back. It ended up being a fine shot, but I've got too much of that already. And if you feel back and down and you overhook it, that's a telltale sign you have too much of that. But let's do that one more time, club across, okay? We're gonna feel back and down. And when I say back, forward towards the target will also go out. So as I do the turning part, the forward part, watch my right shoulder and club will go out towards the ball as well. Okay, that's the over the top motion. So I'm keeping the shoulder back, like keeping that shoulder pulled back and just down. Right shoulder's getting close to the hip, some of that side bend, feel like my chest and shoulder's staying closed. And again, that's gonna help get the club much more from inside. I'm gonna feel like the arm's lower inside. Those are the feels, right shoulder back and down, arms lowering to help fix the pulls and the fades. Yeah, and there again for me, I've got too much of that. It's probably a 15-yard hook. Now I am more like the second player I had, okay? It was funny, back-to-back lessons, same issue, just opposite ends of the spectrum. So we used the same drill. Guy number 2 I had was hitting behind the ball, some fat shots, but he was hitting pushes to the right and hooks to the left, the exact opposite. So if we look at his ratio, he also wasn't 50-50. He now was probably 80% down and only 20% forward. Arguably a better problem than the other way, but still a problem. So he was 80% down, like me, 20% forward. So if he's 80 down, 20 forward, and we want 50-50, what does he need to feel more of? He's got to feel just forward, like 100% forward with almost no down at all, to be able to get to neutral. So I said, okay, let's put the club across your shoulder, same drill like this. Now, instead of feeling the club head go back towards the angle for player number 1, now you're going to feel the opposite. Get the club head to the ball, we said. Get the club head to the ball. Club head to the ball. And if I do that and I feel the same thing and I put the club in, now that's going to get the club working what's going to feel like almost even a little bit too steep or too far over. And of course, this player, like you, if you hit push and hooks, that's what it needs to feel like. So all forward, no down at all, really. And that, just like that ball flight, took the hook off. So that went from a 20-yard hook with my shoulder back and down to probably like a 2 or 3-yard draw. Now, as we were working through this, because there is still some down, right? We're still looking for 50-50, but it feels like forward, club head to the ball. We said, hey, one of the feels you might have is actually get the shoulder to the ball before the club head. All of the turning piece, shoulder to the ball before the club head. No down, all forward. And there again, same thing. For him, the contact got very good and it removed a bunch of the draw. You know, the other general sensation with this, because we said to fix the pulls and the fades, right? You're back, down with the shoulders closed. To fix the push and the hook, you're forward, still down some. Get the shoulder to the ball before the club head. And we had a general sense of trying to get the shoulder past the ball, you know, by the time the arms are parallel to the ground. Just the same, get the shoulder forward parts. So to fix the push and the hook, more forward. Yep, and all those very solid draw shots there. So it truly depends on what end of the spectrum you're coming from. When I take a setup, if I look at here, we'll drew some Adam Scott, if I drew a little wall to the right of my shoulder, during the backswing, the shoulder goes up towards the sky, and it goes away from the ball, or actually towards the target this way, away from the ball, this way. So because it went up and away from the ball or target, it needs to go down and towards the target. All of us need to do those two things. All of us are seeking that 50-50 split, but depending upon your ball flight pattern is which part you have to feel. And that happens a lot with lessons where student 1 versus student 2, we're trying to get to the same end goal, but you can get there 2 different ways depending upon where you're coming from. And I would use that depending upon your ball flight. If you wanted sort of a stock general feel, if I put the club across here, I do want to get the club head down to the golf ball, and I do want to have my right shoulder closer to my right hip. That would be like if I was given a very general sense here. But depending upon where you are in that spectrum, you want to feel one end or the other. This, like those two students, and this is why I suggest the coaching so much, if student 1 and student 2 came in, they've got the exact same issue in terms of poor right shoulder motion, but coming from a completely opposite place. So without me seeing that, I would not have been able to give them the correct fixes for those. I would highly recommend you find a good coach that changed my golfing life. It's going to change yours too. Send your swings to cogornogolf.com. Let us identify what those faults are. Focus on these two things. Do these drills for this amount of reps. Let us keep you accountable. Here's what to expect along the way. All that could really help change your game. I urge you to go to cogornogolf.com, send in your swings. As always, if you have any questions at all, leave a comment down below. Like the video if it helps, send it to a friend. Appreciate you guys watching.